Good evening, YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Today we've got another juicy piece of royal gossip to dive into regarding Meghan Markle. Reports are now surfacing that at the same children's hospital charity event last weekend where Meghan had that confrontation with comedian Molly McNearney, the CEO seemed to give Meghan the cold shoulder as well. Let's break down what's being reported. For those just joining, last Saturday, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry attended a fundraiser gala hosted by the Children's Hospital Los Angeles, where they have long supported. At the event, Meghan took offense to jokes made by Molly McNearney about her exit from the royal family in Britain. This led to Meghan abruptly rushing out in tears as caught on video. In the aftermath of that headline-making confrontation between Meghan and Molly, new witness accounts are providing some interesting context about Meghan's interactions, or lack thereof, with event host Paul Viviano. Paul is the CEO of Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and therefore the man overseeing the entire star-studded fundraising evening. Eyewitnesses say that upon arriving, while Harry was warmly greeted and chatting with Paul Viviano, Meghan was strangely left on her own. Paul did not make any effort to personally welcome or introduce Meghan to other VIP guests. He seemingly spent the entire cocktail hour networking and posing for photos, but completely ignored Meghan, who stood by herself. Things took an even more awkward turn during the dinner portion of the night. Photos show Paul spending much of the meal seated next to comedian Jimmy Kimmel, who was there to support wife Molly McNearney. Sources claim Paul and Jimmy were engrossed in conversation and laughter throughout the sit-down dinner, while Meghan and Harry sat further down the table on their own. To make matters more bizarre, after Molly's comedy routine, which caused the Meghan confrontation, Paul was quick to rush to Molly's defense. He posed for photos with her congratulating her act, but he did not check on or console Meghan at all, who had stormed out in upset moments earlier. The hospital CEO, Paul Viviano, seemed to actively ignore and exclude Meghan from all pre-event socializing and networking. He gave her no personal introductions or welcome. Then, during and after the keynote dinner and speeches, Paul kept close company with only Jimmy Kimmel, leaving Meghan feeling isolated and alone with just Harry. It's led many to question, was Paul purposely giving Meghan the cold shoulder all night long? And if so, why target the high-profile guest of honor? Let's analyze the possible motives and meaning behind Paul Viviano's reported treatment of Meghan at his own charity bash. There are a few possibilities that could potentially explain Paul Viviano's strange behavior towards Meghan, according to what witnesses describe. As the charity CEO, Paul wants to stay out of any controversies and keep donors happy. Shunning Meghan after her very public confrontation distanced himself and the hospital from any backlash over Molly's jokes. It was a way to signal he stood by the comedians, not the potential difficult guests. 2. Personal bias. While unconfirmed, it's certainly possible Paul privately took issues with certain decisions Meghan and Harry have made recently regarding their exit from the royal family. His frostiness could reflect personal dislike towards Meghan as an individual rather than just hospitality duty as their host. 3. Misjudgment of dynamics. Perhaps Paul misread the room and rapport between guests. By sticking so close to Jimmy Kimmel due to their existing friendship, it made Meghan and Harry feel like outsiders unintentionally. He did not balance connecting with all parties as an event lead should. 4. Protecting allies. Jimmy and Molly are industry colleagues Paul has worked with before for hospital fundraising efforts. After Molly's jokes sparked problems, Paul's priority was reassuring those in his professional circle like her, not unknowns in Meghan and Harry. 5. Ambition over duty. For such a high-profile event, the stakes were high for Paul to seize photo ops and make strong personal connections with donors, boards, and stars there that night. Meghan may have gotten shortchanged as Paul overfocused on building his own image and Rolodex more than his role as host. Ultimately, without Paul or the charity addressing it officially, the real why behind his evident distancing from Meghan remains speculation. What we do know is that his behavior, whether intentional or not, further undermined Meghan's evening and sense of belonging at an event she was a guest of honor for. That itself was an unfortunate failure of hospitality on Paul's part as their host. Some may argue he had no obligation to give Meghan special treatment either. However, basic networking Introducing guests and ensuring all feel included is hospitality industry standard, especially for charities relying on positive celebrity relationships and fundraisers like this. In that regard, Paul dropped the ball that night when it came to Meghan. In the end, this was likely just one of those messy situations where miscommunications and lack of emotional intelligence on multiple sides snowballed small issues into much bigger perceived snubs and slights. A strong, balanced host like Paul Viviano could have smoothed things over and kept everyone feeling respected with just a bit more awareness and effort on his part too. As with Meghan and Molly's confrontation, the hope is all parties can privately reconcile any tensions without things spiraling further in the court of public opinion. The focus should remain on supporting the fantastic work of Children's Hospital Los Angeles, not inter-celebrity frictions. Thanks for watching. Please share your perspective on the situation in the comments. I aim to provide thoughtful explorations of celebrity and royal encounters. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates.